Hilary, we're ready for you. Yes, ma'am. I made the mistake the first time I met her calling her Commissioner Franz. I was told very quickly that was inappropriate. So this is Hilary, Commissioner of Public Lands.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon. This is such an amazing group of people. Can I just tell you how excited I am? Does that sound okay, everybody? Guys, are you not excited to be here? Okay, the reason I'm called Hilary is because when I first got into this position and everybody greeted me with commissioner, it's like, oh no, everybody's already mad at me. This is not a good way to start. So my belief is if you call me commissioner, you must be mad at me. If you call me Hilary, then we're doing okay. We've got ways we can work together and get better together. And it means that I expect you to be teaching me as much as I need to learn so I can be more effective at serving the people of this state. I just think I'm honored to be here. I'm honored with such a phenomenal turnout from people from all over this state who have for many, many years in very different capacities been serving the people and the landscapes of Washington State within some very challenging times, not only with limited resource and capacity, but as we see our landscape here in Washington State more and more threatened by wildfire and forest health. And as we look to our sister states, and we don't have to look very far from this last summer with Oregon and California and Montana and Wyoming. We know that the wildfire seasons are growing longer, they're growing more intense, and the losses that our communities bear are mounting. We know that those losses aren't only for certain corners of the state either. As we watch as wildfires now making longer periods of time earlier in the spring, longer in the fall, and also moving more into the western part of our state. And even more tragically, included in these losses are the most difficult losses of all, which are people's lives. All too recently, we've felt the loss of firefighters here in Washington, and we've watched with horror, and I mean absolute horror, as scores of civilian lives were lost in California just barely over a month ago. We have spent hundreds of millions of dollars attempting to suppress these fires. All of you know how much time and energy, hard work, and man and woman power is put to protecting the people and land. And we also know how much the costs have mounted as we work tirelessly to mitigate the damage to the landscapes and protect those resources. These wildfire seasons represent a trend that is predicted to only get worse over the next several decades. With a changing climate, with increasing population, and having more and more development moving into the wildlands, and limited resources as we fight amongst lots of other pressing issues in this state for more money, more resources, more capacity at the local and state level to fight these fires. To effectively meet these challenges, it is time for us to consider a very new shared vision for wildfire protection. And I committed over a year ago to make this one of my top priorities, along with forest health, which go hand in hand together at being the problem and being the solution. We have a vision that leads us to restore and maintain our landscapes, create wildfire adapted communities, and respond safely and effectively to wildfires. There's plenty of good work actually already happening within just the last year. And much of the success of the last year, I cannot ignore the fact that has been part of many of you raising the profile of the issue and challenges of our landscapes, specifically around forest health. For example, I'll say we've leveraged all of the resource and capacity, knowledge and expertise, and the raised voices that for so long have been working to see and recognize and get more support and help for forest health. And last year, having significant legislation passed with leadership from Representative Dent, Representative Pretz, I know I'm getting Senator Hawkins, the list goes on of people who have worked to help ensure that we have the resource and capacity to address the forest health problem. And fortunately, just last year, we launched the first ever 20-year forest health plan in Washington State that first recognizes the 2.7 million acres of forests in Washington State that are in poor health due to disease, drought, and insect, and are dying, leading to the catastrophic wildfires that we've seen. With that 20-year plan, we are set now on a trajectory to treat over 1 million acres in the next 20 years of our forests. We're looking at 70,000 acres a year to be able to do that. And now we need the resources and capacity from our legislature to fund that effort and get it going so we can be effective. I'm thrilled that we got a capital budget. I know many of you are for many reasons, because it now leverages us being able to have $15 million to begin to move and treat over 20,000 acres. We've also been able to bridge a significant partnership with the U.S. Forest Service in signing the Good Neighbor Authority, which now allows us to get on federal lands and beginning doing forest health treatments on their lands, which many of you know is a significant part of our forest health crisis. And we are making progress there. And now today is launching the focus on our wildfires. So we know that the fires that we've seen 20 years ago are nothing like the fires we have today. And we know 20 years from now, they're going to be unrecognizable from anything we see right now. And that's why it's absolutely critical for each and every one of us to set forward a 20-year wildfire plan that doesn't just look at what Department of Natural Resources can do with its limited resource and capacity, but looks at our state and local and federal firefighting services as well as our communities. It's great to see county commissioners who I know are on the front lines of protecting their communities and fires, and to see great organizations who are working to actually ensure that we have the resources at that local level and that we're mobilizing our communities to be able to fight those fires more effectively. And so this strategic plan, what is novel about it is we have not, to my knowledge, ever done a strategic plan regarding wildfire that doesn't just look at our agency, Department of Natural Resources. It is my belief that if we're going to fight the fires we're seeing now, and we're going to only see get worse in the next 20 years, we have to be one state fighting these fires all together. And so this is a plan that brings all of your resources and capacity, all of your expertise and knowledge, and all of the others together to say, how do we address the long-standing challenges and limitations that we have currently to fight the fires we have today, so that we can best set up our landscape and our communities to fight them in the future. I believe with this 20-year plan, the fight and challenges we've had to get resources at the local, state, and federal level to have the kind of capacity on the ground, the kind of equipment that our communities need, so we can keep fires small and not allow them to spread, to not see the damages that cost us $500 million in 2014 through 2016, is about one plan that lifts all of our voices up and shows what we can do together with the resources and equipment and the capacity on the ground. And I think with that, we will be able to get the critical resource and leadership both at the state and federal level. I want to thank you all for being here. I can't say it enough. It is always one of those frightening things. You never know if you're going to launch an effort and nobody shows up, because that would be really hard, especially given the huge lift we have ahead. But I think this room full, and I know there were many others who couldn't make it today, is a sign of how much this state and our communities realize that this is one of the most pressing challenges we have in front of us, that this isn't just about Eastern Washington, that isn't just about our forests and our natural resource lands, but it is about every community in our state coming together at the most pressing issue of our time, which is wildfires and the other challenges we're seeing from climate change and increasing population, and how do we do what we need to do to make sure that the state we have today, this beautiful state we all love to call home, 20 years from now is the same kind of state we love, so we have it for our children. I want to thank you. I look forward to today. I look forward to the months ahead. I'm honored to have my phenomenal team at DNR, and Lauren Torgerson and Jerry Day and others who have been helping really get, and Chuck, how can I forget you? I know you are hard to forget, for all your efforts, and thank you again for this opportunity. Thanks for being here, and I look forward to doing great work with all of you. Thank you. And now I have the distinct pleasure. Is this the cowboy hat you promised me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah, that's it. That's it.
Go.
All right. So it is my. It looks really good. It is my distinct honor to be able to introduce an amazing amount of information about how critical it is that we have the resources on the ground, one for initial attack and using our air assets wisely, as well as making sure we have pre-positioned our equipment that we have, as limited as it is, as you and I both know, in key strategic places where we know are going to be hit by fires extensively. And one of the reasons why this last fire season, to the great work of everyone here, we were able to keep it so successful in having 96% of our fires be below 10 acres, was because of initial attack, pre-positioning of equipment in key strategic locations, and also being able to train our federal, state, and local firefighters together so they work collectively and collaboratively before fires launched. And a lot of that was through the expertise and knowledge and sharing of information from your experience, Representative Dent. So I just want to thank you for being here, and thanks for your continued work in the legislature on this.
Well, thank you, Commissioner.
You're welcome, Representative.
Hilary, yeah. Anyway, you know, we developed an early on relationship before she was elected, and I will tell you that Hilary is a breath of fresh air for the Department of Natural Resources. My position in the legislature to work with her, you know, I do appreciate her, and I'd like to, if you could show her some appreciation. My remarks will be brief because I have to be back on campus in about 11 minutes. So, we just got off the floor. I made it here, and I have to go back right away. But I do want to say that you know, when I first came into the legislature, I was focused on fire suppression because of my expertise in my years sitting in the seat of an airplane, and I knew how we could use aircraft to be better at suppression. And I worked hard to do that, and through working hard to develop a relationship with DNR and figure out some issues we had, we ended up forming what we call the Wildfire Caucus, which has been somewhat successful and continues to grow. So, and we work on all of our forest health issues now through that caucus. But I do want to assure that Representative Kretz is still committed to working on forest health issues, prescribed burning situations such as this, and I'm still focused on initial attack and fire suppression. So we're going to continue to do everything we can to give you guys what you need to make this happen. And you know, so it is somewhat of a heavy lift at times, but we were going to continue to do that. So that's really about all I can do. I do want to echo Hilary's comments and thank you for being here and engaging in this. It's a very serious issue, but I think if we all engage, we all look at all aspects of what our forest health fire issues have been, we can make it better. So thank you and enjoy the day.
Thank you. I want to steal my microphone. I need to honor Jim Pena, who's here actually. You're hiding here. Don't go green. I say go bold and red and people can see you. But I know the Cougars with fans would love me for saying that. I just want to say, you know, right when I came in office, we signed a historic agreement in March that is pretty phenomenal. And after signing the agreement, we've already been getting to work on the Good Neighbor Authority so that we could do better at getting on the ground on your lands as well as ours. And I just want to say thank you. Your partnership already has been phenomenal. We're making huge success. So thank you, and I appreciate it and look forward to more work with you, okay? Who's next?
Me.
Chuck.
Thanks. So thanks, Hilary. Thanks, Representative.